So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for our today's masterclass in sales and marketing, and we are here with Mr. Adarsh Pillai. I'll give you a very quickly introduction about Mr. Adarsh. So he is one of the first student to actually get a training with Jordan Belfort joining program. He has over 20 years of experience, and this is across various domains. So if you talk about B2B, B2C, he has worked with endless tech giants like HP, Lenovo. He has also worked with Versace. So his expertise lies in brand strategies, uh, sales, training. He has also worked very closely with Neil Patel and Jeff Davis. He has personal experience with training over 600 professionals across industry. And let's talk about numbers, because sales is nothing without numbers. So he has contributed a total revenue of $1.3 billion across industries over a period of time. So please welcome Mr. Adarsh Pillai. Give him a round of applause. He is here to guide us, share his experience with all his masterclass ability. He'll take us through his journey.
So thank you so much for first of all inviting me to No Club. It gives me an immense pleasure to talk about sales and marketing, and I believe I would be able to pass on some knowledge which I learned through my various experience and through great mentors. The people who would like to get into sales and marketing, I hope those individuals can benefit from this session. So, all looking forward for this session.
Great. I'm also really sure with your presence we can actually learn throughout our session today.
Thank you.
So, so today we will be touching on all the aspects of sales and marketing, whether we talk about AI, generative AI, how the data is actually playing the role in the current market situations. So our audience are little keen to actually know what we are actually trying to do with data, and all our questions will be revolving around that. So, with that said, let's start with our first question, which is which is centered around AI. So you know how AI is playing and changing the market and dynamics in the current situation, current marketing situation. Uh, so what kind of how do you think AI is making a change, and especially if we are already in 2025? So, how marketing and sales strategies are changing? Do you think it is it is getting very prompt with AI coming into the picture? People are not using their uh, more hands-on experience and relying on AI, or do you think it is otherwise? Is it helping, not helping? Can you please throw some light on it?
So, first of all, we would like to understand what exactly is AI. People usually are in the assumption that AI can be used as a tool to decrease their workload or use as an enabler to increase their efficiency. This is what you usually respective departments think about AI.
Right.
So when we talk about sales and marketing, it has taken the marketing and sales dynamics to the next level in coming in not in 2025 and in coming ages.
Hmm.
So when we talk about marketing aspect, the influence of AI in marketing aspect, the first thing what AI has done is hyper personalization. People do now talk about personalization in marketing, trying to get in with consumers at the right time with the right audience. But what AI have done is analyzing the consumer's behavior, analyzing what exactly they need at what point of time without being an intrusive approach to their privacy. That's what AI has done. So it can be termed as an integration of website, CRM, email, an integration of third-party tools and probably known platforms like Facebook, Google. So the second thing what it has done in marketing aspect is the new dynamics of AI which has brought in marketing, that is voice and visual search optimization. So people now use AI for a better product recommendation for them. AI can, as per your preferences, they can pull out the right product in front of you. You venture out into Amazon platform, you venture into Shopify, you venture into other any kind of platforms. So AI has enabled in marketing to give you the right product at the right time in front of you. Also, a personalization touch, what exactly you need. When I'm talking about a dynamic which AI has changed, pushing from a push marketing to pull up marketing, where the customer has not been forced upon to take a decision on respective product or sales.
Okay.
And again, the impact which has created in sales, that is lead nurturing and lead scoring. So as a salesperson, it becomes a bit difficult to get in touch with the right person at the right time. So what AI has enabled with an integration of CRMs like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive is reaching out to the prospect what exactly they need, and what form of they are in purchasing behavior, and that has immensely increased uh, the effectiveness of a sales team.
Okay.
So this other AI impact has created. One more thing which I would like to put forward is people do think AI can replace sales or marketing guys. That is never going to happen. I will tell you the reason behind. The sales is always attached with emotions. uh, how much you try to bring AI automation to platforms, to consumers is always going to go with the brand with an emotion. That emotion touch is always going to be human. Never ever how much AI is going to bring that efficiency on any platforms, bring in sales, marketing, or any domain, but that human touch is necessary.
Okay.
So I would like to put forward again one more thing. There is a huge difference between AI and automation. People do get confused with that. The, the integration of automation and AI is altogether a different concept. Automation is about what you exactly need to automate in your process when it comes to sales and marketing. So these are the changes what AI is bringing in marketing and sales.
Right. So, when you talk about personalization, so right now, if you look at people, if you look at the young entrepreneurs or people who start their business or want to start their business, they want that personalization. Like, if you look at examples of how people are actually doing push notifications and how personalized it is for you to actually go and actually buy that product, correct? And same thing happens for the service as well. So so is personalization of the of marketing or service or product is still relevant, or do you think uh, with AI, since you have touched upon AI and automation, the personalization actually takes a toll because it gets difficult to actually understand each individual on that basis. Okay, that is why, that is where AI is helping actually identify audience. So, do you think personalization is playing a role here in order to get maximum user to actually buy products or service, or do you think it has taken a backseat?
See, as I told you, uh, brands, the consumers is always connected with the brands through emotions. So the personalization is the game changer in today's marketing dynamics. So when we talk about personalization, be it through email, be it through social media, be it through your website, be it through you even conducting any events, anything. Personalization is the utmost important part. So it depends. Before, when we talk about personalization, the first foremost thing which we need to understand is your market. Before step, unless and until you understand what market you are into, what is your consumer behaviors, buyers behavior towards your product and service, what is the problem you are solving in the market, what product, your product or service, is it providing a solution. So the effectiveness of personalization only comes once your four dynamics, which I talked about, parameters here, is on the set on the right path. Unless and until this four path is not right set, the personalization, how much personalization you try to get with your consumer, is not going to create any effect.
Okay.
So I will tell you an example. While I was working with a brand for Versace, a known fashion brand across the global. So their huge consumer base is based out of France. So once they try to, once the market research pull out by the board of directors, they wanted to tap the Middle East market. So they got out in this market with an assumption of with the brand value. But during the first initial 3 months of the journey, the sales was taken a heavy toll by 50 to 60% at a negative rate.
Okay.
At that point of time, the basic which the team missed out was what exactly the local consumer behavior is, what exactly the local consumer is attracted to, what exactly they need. That problem was not solved. But even they tried to do the personalization, but it didn't prove any effective. But once they understood this dynamics, they put up a campaign plan which created a revenue generation of more than 150%.
Okay.
So this talks about the importance of personalization, but almost what market you are stepping into, understanding your consumers' behavior, the consumers' personas, behavior, purchasing attitude. That's you need to understand this. Unless and
Right.
until personification is not going to bring value.
Correct. So, so having said that, so personalization also is directly proportional to localization.
Yes.
So if a brand like Versace is doing great in France, does not mean he will they will also do equally great in India
Yes.
or in Middle East.
Yes.
So the brand story of what they are trying to portray in France or in Middle East should also change.
Yes.
Correct. So, do you think brands are doing that effectively to target that particular audience in that particular region, or do you think brand story also has been on a very generalized basis? Say, for example, Versace. So, Versace, everybody connects with luxury, uh, expensive, status. So do you think Middle East also have money? People don't are not afraid of it. So how do you think Versace could have done a little better in that aspect if of actually identifying or putting a brand story together for each individual, not each individual, but a certain group of people, so that they could have excelled there as well.
See, when we talk about brand story of any brands, the brand's first initial responsibility is before setting up a brand story on what is the baseline of your brand story. What is the baseline of your story? As I said earlier, the story always resolve around your consumer. So the brand who puts up their brand story as consumer as a hero and the brand as their guidebook always is going to create value and create a high value proposition brand story in the market. So when we talk about the parameters to set up a brand story, so it's again start with the market research.
Right.
As you said, the brands need to understand all their products and services are not going to fit in all the pyramids of the consumers.
Correct.
It has its own bifurcation. So when you talk about Versace now, Versace has set up his own portfolio that it comes in the luxury segment.
Hmm.
But when you talk about luxury segment, it has nothing to do with the regional wines, be it France, Middle East, APAC. You even talk about African nations, anything. But you need to understand which segment you are targeting.
Right.
So, as you talk about the importance of brand story, definitely without a brand story, you cannot even connect with your consumer. Consumers are connected with your brand with emotions. It's not about what you're selling in, it's not about the price value what you're putting up in the market. So, the brand story is going to create a difference between your competitor. Let's assume Versace or maybe any product, a similar competitor is there in the market. Your story is going to stand out in front of your competitor's product.
Correct.
So that's what it is.
Okay. So now let's shift our agenda a little bit from the AI to little bit of ORM, so online reputation management kind of thing, where community building, management, community growth, marketing, all those comes into the picture. So how do you think that is faring uh, in today's world? So if you talk about cell phone market, so they are like heavily dependent on community. They have a very big community. For example, Apple, OnePlus. So all these guys actually are playing on the community game. So do you think community-driven growth in marketing or sales is effective enough, or does it take a lot of time to actually uh, build that community to actually take leverage from that? From
So definitely in coming ages, community-driven growth is going to be one of the uh, secret sausages for any marketing and advertising agency. This is the most underrated uh, platform which the brands consider or undervalued. But this is going to change, and I will tell you the reason behind. In this fast digital space, as you are at where the pull-up marketing is happening, where brand is pushing out for their product and services to the consumers, you people trust people.
Hmm.
That is the base of community-driven growth.
Correct.
And you need to understand what is community-driven growth.
Yes.
In community-driven growth, your fans, your consumers, your affiliates becomes your growth engine.
Hmm.
They become your advocacy of your product and services of your brand in the market.
Okay.
So all today's leading marketing and advertising agency have understood it. They have built community around the brands. They have utilized them as an advocacy. And you need to build up this community, you need to understand first a few things. Apart a selling perspective or a marketing perspective, what is the agenda behind this community? What this community brings together? Is it something a common cause here of the community people coming in? So I will tell you, this community driven growth, let's the people or the consumers in community driven growth, they might pass on through a paid ad campaign, but they will not pass on through a product or service what the community is representing in the market. So the brands need to be aware of this community part. Agency marketing people need to be aware of this community part. So it's going to be one of the most used and which is not going to stop in coming at least 15-20 years. What kind of AI or what kind of automation is going to bring in marketing and sales dynamics?
Okay. So uh, now let's talk about sales a bit more, since we have touched a lot of points in marketing, uh, how it is actually affecting. So in sales, we talk about automation. Okay, so there are lots of small agencies or even agency when they start up, they don't put automation into the picture. And where the individual is responsible to generate sales. So how do you think automation is solving that problem effectively or not, that you can answer with on the basis of your experience. And does it does it quicker the growth of a company when you talk about automation enabled sales team, and how effective or not effective it can get?
See, automation is one of the best strategy for any sales department across industries.
Hmm.
But we need to understand on what basis your automation you are conducting.
Right.
So before setting up the automation, you need to understand what is the purpose of your automation. Is it to start off with outreach in the form of email, in the form of call, or is it in the form of lead nurturing, lead qualification,
Hmm.
or is it giving a customer centric approach to your customers,
Okay.
or is it attracting low hanging fruits in your CRM? So, and automation is not going to work for all the industries, or maybe for all the domains which people are considering that if they automate, they believe that automate is going to change
Hmm.
or enhance their sales.
Yeah.
That's not the reason behind it. First, you need to understand your consumer. You need to understand their nature of consumer behavior, and that's what comes up. Also, choosing the right automation platform of your needs.
Okay. So, can you highlight few of the domains where automation can work very effectively, so that the audience can derive some motivation to actually implement
See,
automation there?
automation, the West, which works out, that is in IT and marketing and advertising space.
Hmm.
And to some extent, in other industries as well, it works. If you talk about using the 100% effectiveness of an automation, that comes in the marketing and advertising space, and I will tell you why. As in marketing and advertising space, we are helping the brands to increase their sales through our marketing campaigns. We ourselves as an agency to be as we work with many industries and domains. So automation is best part here. If you recommend me what kind of automation, that would be an HubSpot sales automation, marketing automation. So where to start off with the lead nurturing,
Hmm.
lead scoring, then integrating your CRM, your website, all form of lead which is coming through in your CRM.
Okay. So just to like break down that also a little bit, so our audience can understand a little bit more. So if you are talking about lead nurturing, so how do you nurture it? So if you can like break it down in a very simpler manner. So lead nurturing, you talked about scoring. So how nurturing and scoring goes hand in hand? Does it go? So I just wanted to know what does it mean, and how effectively people can derive. Uh,
See, when you talk about lead nurturing and lead scoring is about uh, now in way back in 10-15 years, it was entirely focused on cold calling.
hmm,
People used to do cold calls
hmm,
and try to find out whether that lead is a perfect buyer for them,
hmm,
right? And then as the ages evolved, marketing and sales things evolved. From the push-up marketing, it comes to pull-up marketing through social media, through digital marketing aspect. Then it came to the automation part. Now we are in standing in the face of AI, right? So when you talk about difference between lead scoring and lead nurturing, lead scoring always revolves around your lead qualification criteria. What lead Every industry has its own lead qualification criteria.
correct.
So let's assume a marketing and advertising space has a lead qualification criteria. Let's assume we want to target some XYZ company in APAC region with a budget volume, with an industry specifications, with the right decision makers, with the right kind of budget.
Okay.
And lead nurturing is the second aspect. Once you fulfill the lead scoring part, lead qualification parameter, then comes the lead nurturing part. But that's takes time for salesperson. But now as said, as the automation AI has come into picture, it has become very easy for the salespeople to get in touch with, nurturing them through personalization emails, through personalization videos, sending out to the relevant content, product suggestions, demo. So it has become easier for them. So this is the
Okay.
difference between lead nurturing and lead scoring.
Sure. So uh, now let's talk about data. So data lead is directly proportional to data, correct? So with Meta and Google strictly got penalized recently for their data breach and other policy with other policies. So how do you think uh, companies are dealing with data collection, how effectively they are actually using the data that they are acquiring? Does data go like how what is the frame? Suppose if you have like 10,000 data sets with you and you have used it for calling and cold calling and emails for say about 6 months, so what is do you can you reuse that data again, or there is a warm up period for that
See, you
or a
have
cool down period?
okay. So you have asked your couple of questions in that one frame. The first thing we need to understand the reason behind of the data privacy law.
Hmm.
10, 15 years before, advertising and marketing space were bombarding consumers' mails, were intruding their privacies, which created this havoc, where the GDPR regulation, CCL regulation in most of the countries came. Still, India is trying to build it up, but still is going to take time, considering the subcontinent demographics. So, when we talk about how brands can save from these regulations, is to shift their focus to first party data, where trust is built upon, or loyalty customer base is built upon
Hmm.
through your content, through any forms, through any platforms, be it social media, website, your publishing site, maybe your email sites, anything. So you have to first shift your focus from to the first party data,
Okay.
and the second focus would be the zero party data, where customers is coming to you through your content,
Okay.
understanding your content. That gives a transparency. We this the marketing space which we are right now. We have to shift our focus from third party cookies. Now Google has introduced G for Google Analytics, which is very customer friendly, and we also have to shift our focus from uh, transferring or running behind consumers everywhere through cookies. It should be what exactly needed, that has to be only pulled out.
Okay.
So this is the one of the way where the brands can safeguard them from the data privacy rules and regulation. Go focusing more on first party data, zero party data, through our creating own channels for creating a loyal community base for relevant brands or product or services.
Okay. And since you have spent so many years in marketing, doing sales, so do you think brands right now are striking a difference or balance between traditional marketing and the since digital marketing, the new age digital marketing has revolutionized the world. So, do you think that this a brand should find a balance between them, or completely keep the traditional marketing aside?
See, as it's 2025, as the market is moving on, the shift has really happened from traditional marketing to digital marketing. But one thing which you cannot deny is respecting the consumer behavior. Uh, the boomers or millennial public still focuses on traditional marketing. The Gen Z people still focus on short form videos, TikTok, Instagrams, digital marketing services, or maybe why it is time effective. It is reaching out to the right audiences in a very faster space. It depends upon how you manage the great agencies or the great brands or people who try to synergize both now in today's marketplace. As the market shifts, as the consumer behavior shifts, you have to shift according to the consumers. We are the brand cannot be a decision maker, or any marketing and advertising space cannot be a decision maker that what is going to run traditional marketing or digital marketing. Anyways, yeah, this is a true fact. There is a shift has happened now. 70% of marketing has been shifted to digital. 30% still, and that is of the consumers, which I talked about, boomers or maybe the old age consumers who are still focused on traditional marketing aspect. So the synergy of both is going to create the best results for agencies and as well as for the brands.
Okay. So there is you're talking about shift. So there is a definite shift from a longer format content to a shorter format content. You'll see, uh, like for example, our parents also, they are consuming reels on Instagram, Facebook, or even for the matter of fact, YouTube. So, and influencer marketing is also a boom right now. So, how that shorter format of content creation is actually impacting or scaling the sales that product based companies are trying to do. For example, an e-commerce company who's trying to sell a t-shirt will engage into lots of shorter format videos to scale their business more quickly or to get rid of product more quickly. So, do you think that is going to be effective in the longer run, or do you think it is just a passing phase?
No, the short form of video is definitely is going to be uh, the game changer in the terms of content creation. I will tell you the reason behind. Now, as I said, as the market is evolving and today is fast paced, nobody is much interested to consume their lot of time in consuming the content. It would rather be spending off 2, 3, 4 seconds or maybe 5 seconds on a short reel. It depends upon what kind of content you are uh, putting up in that short form of videos, what relevancy is there with your consumer, what kind of beneficial is there in your for your consumer. And the most important part, the best form of short form videos is the UGC content, which is being an UGC content of any person or random person sitting at their home and pulling out a video in their iPhone or any random phone can have a greater views rather than a brand putting a lot of money in a studio
Hmm.
in today's marketplace.
Hmm.
And the why this shift happens, again, the audience we have to respect, that is the Gen Z audiences. That's where they are the people who shift this focus. They are the people who brought in short form of videos. And another benefit of this, a video created can be run through multiple platforms. You name TikTok, Instagram, PinDrive, Interest, anything. So this create a value as well on the table. So anyways, in coming short form videos is going to be one of the secret sauces in terms of marketing of any brand.
Okay. So, uh, so, so when we talk about shorter format, longer format, so there is a big hole in the market with respect to content. Everybody is making everything. So, if you talk about like you have worked with lots of tech giants, so how do you actually create content for a tech giant so that it reaches out to the correct audience in that space? Because everybody can't make content like that. It is very specific to the needs for the people. So I what I feel is there is not enough people who is making that kind of content for a tech based company. Like I want to understand your view on that.
See, that's a wrong assumption when you talk about we don't have enough technical writers
Hmm.
when it comes to tech space. We do have, but it's a very painful thing in today's market, mostly in subcontinent. The content creators are using generative AI content as the baseline of writing any content.
Okay.
The content creators how now have become editing, refining the generative AI contents.
Hmm.
So the content creators need to understand. how much AI they have to use AI as a support, not as a core baseline to create any content in the market.
Okay.
They have to put that human touch, the consumer emotional touch with the product or services in that content. The great content creators in today's world are the people who knows this game to mix using AI as a, a tool to create a blueprint of relevant searches, topics, and putting the human touch, putting their writing skills, redefining it in their content are the content writers, are the great content writers. You talk about technical aspect, you talk about fashion, you talk about any industries. As you said about technical space, how it happens here, it's the same goes, nothing different from other brands. Tech space, the audience is very niche. If all technical content is not consumed by all audience across, it's all the niche audiences which tech audiences more often do. So whenever the content creation is put behind, always the core parameters the writers or the brand strategies put forward is whether the need of product or service is there in the market,
Hmm.
considering the competition dynamics of the market. The second parameter comes is whether that product or services is creating a difference or going to create a difference, a solution for the problems what their consumer is facing.
Hmm. Okay.
And the third revolves around how you put up your stories. As we already discussed about the brand stories, so again follow the same. So there's nothing behind. But as I said, it's a problem which is facing in subcontinent. But when it comes to the Western world, when you talk about North American market or the South American markets, Middle East market, there are writers who have effectively used AI, who has effectively used training models like ChatGPT to enhance their content creation, but with a human touch, understanding the consumer behavior, consumers' emotions. But as we said, I would tell to the content creators across subcontinent, we have to shift our focus if we have to match up to the world marketing
Hmm.
dynamics.
Hmm. Hmm. So your here I can get the keyword is emotion. Okay. So the one thing that generative AI can't do is put emotion
Yes,
into the picture.
yes.
So with emotion, with marketing, so there comes emotion intelligence comes into the picture, correct? So so that is where you are trying to put, right? They are just getting the work done from the generative AI and trying to put the emotion. So how the emotion intelligence plays a role in actually fetching that audience um, focus onto your product or service.
So see, whenever we talk about emotional intelligence, we need to understand what exactly it is.
Yeah.
The first part comes is it's not about emotions a consumer when I talk about what exactly the consumer wants, right? That's when you talk about relating an emotional intelligence with a product and a buyer. It doesn't revolve around it revolves around a solution and a problem when it comes of marketing. But in sales, is altogether different aspect.
Uh-huh.
In
So
sales, it's altogether different aspect.
yeah.
In marketing, it's just a problem and solution is put up. You are understanding a consumer's problem and you're taking it. That's just emotion is a marketing aspect. But in sales, it's a bigger picture.
So if you can highlight those points like emotion, so there is two aspect to it, correct? So if you want to sell product, you just find the pain point that the customer is having, and you put the hammer there, or you engage emotionally uh, with the audience or with the consumer. If you're doing sales, so I want to understand, or our audience also want to understand what kind of emotional intelligence plays in sales.
See, emotional intelligence plays a huge role in sales. The first thing, any salesperson who want to become a great salesperson is need to understand and evaluate their own conversation with consumers. whether their emotion was a barrier for converting that prospect, whether their emotion created a discrepancy in putting across the value of the product or services to the consumer, which is you can see as self-awareness. So that's where emotional intelligence is much needed for salesperson. You need to understand your emotions. You need to always keep your emotions down. The any salesperson who keeps his higher emotions, his intelligence or her intelligence comes down. So you need to have control your emotions whenever you are talking about with a consumer, with your customers, in any form, in any product, for any product, any services across any domain, any industries.
Okay.
And the second part is why emotional intelligence is much needed for salespeople. Salespeople are the professionals whom I believe in the marketplace who listens to 100 no's in a single day.
Right.
They are they do salespeople have been considered as disrespect by have been disrespected as well. Whenever they try to do the cold calling, whenever they try to do cold outreach or an email outreach, here comes your resilience and consistency, uh, keeping under your emotions and motivating yourself that this is not we are going to stop. After, as there is a saying in sales, after 100 no there is an yes, and from that yes is where your salesperson is born. So if you see in any organization, uh, a salesperson who has been in the top bottom 20%, after a period of time they are the top 10% or the top 10 performance of any organization. While going through the journey, understanding the emotional intelligence benefits, understanding how to keep your emotions down. So, as I said, emotional intelligence is one of the key factors of a salesperson. I will tell you the difference between a good salesperson sells features of the product or service. A great salesperson sells emotions of the product and services to the customer. To become a great salesperson, the emotional intelligence should be there at the core.
Right. Right. So uh, now let's get into the sales cycle. So sales cycle is, uh, suppose if the value is higher, this cycle will be longer. So how do you manage to shorten the cycle? Because see, at the end of the day, sales or sales is all about achieving your desired target, correct? And if the cycle is longer, it will get difficult. So how do you manage to shorten the cycle, like over the period of time in your 20 years? Can you please highlight so that uh, these guys can get value out
See,
of it?
you first we need to understand where actually uh, this complexity happens. It always happens at high value billing, where complex decision makers comes into picture. The first, the thing any salesperson has to do is, without wasting much of a time on a single account, they need to follow a framework. The framework in tech space is always known as MEDEC. In other industries, it is known as band model. So you need to understand the right economic buyer of certain product or services which you are pitching. And I'm talking about economic buyer. What is an economic buyer? Economic buyers are the people who are the final authority, final decision maker. So there are complexity when it comes to such decisions. They every organization have their set of layers when it comes to purchasing. So the first approach which you have to first you have to evaluate, are you talking to the right person
Person.
across departments? So what are the steps or the layers they have formed for the purchasing? And the third aspect which you have to do is setting up the understanding their pains, their requirements, what exactly they need, and position your product and services at the right place at the right time.
Okay.
And next, what you have to do is after this, you need there should be a mutual action plan. So if I'm sending a proposal to X person in a department, what is the reward time or callback time which I would be expecting from that person. That should be set up earlier, which is going to waste both of uh, the salesperson time and as well as the buyer's time. Then you need to provide a sales, sorry, sales, I would not say, I would say a result oriented proposal or a result oriented approach or proposal to the client, where how faster you can reach out to the economic buyer. And then the phase starts with the, like the sales process starts, negotiation, closing, and that's how it works.
Okay. So over a period of time, I think when you have accurate data, data analytics also plays a vital role. So, like industry leaders in sales specifically, how do they use data analytics effectively to gather information, which actual industry to target, which person to target, or which consumer to target? So,
So, in data analytics is one of the most important tool right now for any sales department, because it gives you a predictive analysis where your lead is standing. Is it in the form of awareness? Is it in the form of interest? Is it in the form of consideration? Or is it in the form of purchasing? Or is it they have neglected you?
okay,
Maybe for your pricing, maybe for your any other aspects. So this is where analysis gives you a better picture of a product for your customers.
okay,
So this is where a salesperson can easily understand where the customer stands and easily understand at what point of time you have to hit the customers.
okay,
But when you talk about this as well, AI has also reduced the challenges for sales professionals. Now AI has already have chatbot, virtual assistant, where without even when if let's a consumer is dipping in your brand, understanding the current trend, they specify their tone messaging from a picture to empather. So this is also shifting is happening, which is creating a huge opportunity and for salespeople to enhance their sales
okay. So you, in short, they are trying. It helps to actually
across
put.
all forms of business buyer's journey. It understand how the lead is going to behave, and a predictive analysis also understand like how a consumer is going to behave in coming in specific industry in coming 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. That's what the salespeople can redirect or reapproach their retarget their approach towards the buyers.
Correct. Okay. So, in today's days, companies are structuring their sales training,
Yeah.
correct, and keeping just to keep their team competitive. So, what is that process? Uh, like how the training process actually is helping the sales professional to actually be competitive.
See, now most of the companies are focused on sales training because they understood that most of that salespeople or most of there was a culture or maybe a kind of a framework which was happening around the industry, that any salesperson who has been hired in any specific industry, on the first day itself they are going to create a change or bring sales over the on the market. That's not it actually happens. You need to understand your own company product and services consumers behavior in the market. You need to understand where you stand in the market. You need to understand your market share in the market. Then you need to also be updated with the current sales technologies. You need to be updated with the current sales approach towards your buyers as well. So sales training is very much important. You need to be updated on real-time basis. You have to be uh, equip them with latest sales technologies to enhance the sales, which indirectly is going to result in your revenue generation. Indirectly is going to enhance your team's moral boost as well.
Right. So this brings down to my last question. That is, it's a mix of like everything. I want to understand like the the whole. So starting from the sales process. So for a like a medium level or for an SMBs, what should be the sales process? Because it will be very drastically different from the enterprise level companies. So how do a mid-size companies should structurize their sales in such a way that at the at some point down the line, they when they are at enterprise level, uh, they should take action from now. What is that action? What is that process that you will suggest these guys?
See, to before setting up the sales process, you need to have your own market research, as I said earlier, where what does your product stands in the market, what is your services in the market, what solution is going to bring in the market, and which demographics or personal graphics consumers you need to target,
Hmm.
and what form and what channels you need to target. That's very much needed. So before setting up the sales process, you have to follow these parameters, and how it goes I will tell you. The a blend of now an automation plus a holistic approach towards AI, a combination of both is what a process has to be set up in any industry across domains. So how do you set up this process? That's the question comes.
Yeah.
The first thing which you have to set up a process is hiring the right talent for your product and service.
Okay.
The second thing comes is enabling them with the right technologies, updating with them the right skill sets. And the third thing what it comes is giving them an automation approach outreach to the market in the form of email, call, SMS, whatever forms you are using. And fourth comes your CRM, which enacts now. CRM is not at all a data management platform, but it's also giving you identification of where the prospect is standing right now. So, and a mixture of all this is what your process has to be set up across any industries, across any domains.
Okay. So I think that answers all my questions. So we'll head to the audience, and uh, we'll take questions from the audience now.
So, I have a question.
Yes, yes, sir.
So, as a small business owner, we are looking at setting up a business. Now, more often than not, the biggest challenge is that most of them are not aware of how to grow their business, right? And they know their product, they will know their service, they will know the operations of their business, but what they will never know, or at least not have the experience, is setting up their sales, right? So if you can just shed some light as a small business owner, how should they look at their sales and marketing? That would be super.
See, when we talk about small business owners, the business owners, as you said, they are well aware about their product, well about their services. They need to be well aware about their product or service consumption in the market as well, where exactly the consumption is going to happen, why it is needed, without wasting much of the time targeting or wasting your time and to on prospects who are not the right buyers for your product and services. It would create a great impact on your salespeople as well. So the first core base is to set up the process, is to hire the right talent. It starts off with right hiring the right talent. When I'm talking about, it's not specific people do now. It has changed a shift that people do hire from the relevant industries. It's now not needed. A great salesperson, I always believe, uh, can sell or can connect with your products or services buyers with the if they are the great salesman is aware of their sales technologies, is aware of their how it has to be presented in front of in a complexity buyer or maybe a simple buyer or maybe a buyer who is just interested as well. So the starts with the hiring a right person, right? The second thing is enabling your salesperson with the right uh, equipments, I would say here, that comes out with the right technologies. That would be, if I make it in a simple form, it would be a dialer, it would be your data, it would be your CRM, it would be your how customer is going to behave with your product and services as well. And the fourth thing is we always need to understand as a business owner, the sales process is always going to evolve because the consumer's behavior is always going to change how great your product and services in the market. So it's always, and you need to be on real time basis, you need to change your approach. If one thing is not working out, to shift your focus to the two. If it's two is not working out, to shift your focus to the three as per the consumer's behavior in the market. And it always goes as Aman has shared that the sales, how much important the sales training is. You can't expect a magic from a salesperson without the business owners directing the sales team where they should head to, without directing the sales team what exactly they are expecting from them, what they need to do. Without providing them with the right accessories, you can't expect a sales process or a sales team to bring results for you. It's always business owners have to keep mind uh, the core baseline of any sales process is uh, redirecting them uh, to the right direction where their product or service is heading, where their consumer is heading. That's where a great sales results comes out, with along with equipping them with the technologies, equipping them with the latest trends, updating them with the latest trends. You can't expect in today's competitive world a salesperson will take a self initiative and will go home and will do research of your competitor, will do a research of your product and services, and will step out in the market without even asking the business owners and do a pitching as per the current market trend. So this is the baseline. This is what you have to follow.
Thank
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Could you also brief us about modern marketing?
Yes. So first of all, we need to understand what is modern marketing. Uh, we are using this modern marketing because we believe we are in modern age. Why we are believing in modern age? Because the the technology has enabled us or believed us that we are in modern age. But one thing which we understand is the principle of marketing for over the years always lies in very simple formula. That is again, which I am repeating it, connecting with your audience. So yes, what is modern marketing all about? It's a transformation from a traditional marketing to social media to digital marketing, or digital marketing to an automation, and automation right now we are studying AI. Now it is again going to take a shift. Now AI has and another competitor of we never thought there would be a competition of ChatGPT in this world, right? But an a prodigy again from Southeast Asia created DeepSeek. So the world is going to change. The modern marketing doesn't mean that we should shift our focus from a buyer or from your product and services value is going to bring in the market. Yes, digital marketing has taken a shift. It has created time effectiveness for the buyer, cost effectiveness for the buyer. It has also created, uh, enabled the brands to reach out to the respective buyers on real-time basis without intruding their privacy. So social media, where the current generation is shifted their focus on, We term them as Gen Z, but I believe this again there would be a lot of changes would be coming in modern marketing with machine learning, with a lot of new technologies. So there would be a time when in modern marketing it would happens. A marketer has to set up a just a goal stating that I need a conversion of 20 or 30% in specific campaign. The AI itself will set up the budget, will itself will distribute the content, will itself it create the content, will design it as per the consumer needs, and will also react, enact, make changes as per the consumer is expecting on day-to-day basis as well. I believe I have answered your question. Thank you.
You want to ask? Yes.
I'm a freelance designer. How do I go about growing my business?
See, as a freelance designer, as you said, today the market are in uh, working in a position where they are interested to work with the right kind of talent. It doesn't neither that you need to have and set up an organization. It doesn't need that you need to have certain portfolio of yours. It only needs the right skill set can you bring on the table. So when you talk about growing your business, it all accumulates. It comes down what kind of skill set, what kind of depth your knowledge is going to bring on. And when you, as I said, now as the marketing is evolving, there are community drive growth is happening not only for brands, but also for professionals, like-minded professionals like you. So you have to be an part of this community to enhance your business, grow along, and get in touch with the right organization or the right people who are looking out or in search of talent like you.
Right.
Sir, my question. I am senior graphic designer. Right? How is branding and marketing importance?
How is branding?
Importance in marketing.
See, branding is the soul of any marketing. Without branding, there is you can't do marketing of any product and services. As we discussed now earlier, without a brand story, there is no soul, there is no connection of your product and services to your buyers. So branding is one of the most important factors, be it traditional marketing, be it modern marketing, be it tech marketing, anything. Branding is one of the most important factors. It is going to touch a great brand story, or as I said earlier, are the brands who have connected well with their audiences. So just make it simple. Without branding, there is marketing cannot happen.
Working as an media planner, I have a question. You're talking about traditional marketing and modern marketing. In past 10 years, what percentage is shifted from traditional marketing to modern marketing?
See, uh, as I said earlier, the shift has hugely shifted from traditional marketing to modern marketing. I will not be able to give you exact percentage, but it depends upon what your consumer is interested and consumer is want to interact with. So now the 70 percentage of the consumer interaction has shifted to the digital marketing aspect. And traditional marketing still it has its value, creating an awareness, credibility, value for the consumers who still believes in that form of channels like TV, radio, print. So traditional marketing a shift has happened, and usually I believe in coming days the print media has also taken his. When you talk about news channels, news medium, they have also shifted their focus to digital news channels. If you see on the other part of the world, the subcontinent is also changing, shifting towards. If you see the other part of the world, Western world, it has already changed. Now, the entire focus, 95% focus in Western world has shifted to digital marketing. Subcontinent is trying to match up because of cultural, local consumer behavior. We are still going a slow manner, but anyways, in coming 10 years, uh, digital marketing is going to overpower the traditional marketing.
And add up to that, For example, I have a brand. My target area is rural areas, but still the rural area is not reached the level of
Digital.
modern marketing.
Hmm.
They not know what the Facebook or social media and all those things. Which marketing I have to put, whether it is traditional or modern.
See, as I told you, we it depends upon the consumer behavior. But just give you an analysis on that what you stated. India is now one of the highest consumer of mobiles across the world. India is the highest consumer of internet across the world. When you take the top 5 countries across the world, highest consumption of internet and mobile devices, India stands in top 5. So just imagine 94 or 93 percentage of the market is using a device and using an internet. They cannot be away from social medias. They cannot be away from Google. They cannot be away from digital marketing aspect. But as you said, how to approach if that remaining 7% where the shift has still doesn't happen, we have to introduce the digital marketing, the importance of the digital marketing in that. We have to introduce it and use that as a medium to reach out for your brand to the right buyers. This is the time to shift the focus. We cannot be in the assumption that 7% is running on traditional marketing. That means we have to, it's our duty as a media planner like you, it's your duty to shift their focus from traditional marketing to digital marketing.
Well, Mr. Adarsh, I have a question for you. Being a salesperson, what should be my sales strategy look like for an 100+ sales force? What do you think about it?
Sorry, I'm not able to understand what you said.
Well, my question is, what should be my sales strategy look like for an 100+ seater sales force?
100 plus seater sales force.
Yes,
So he's talking about there's 100 licenses of of Salesforce.
100 seaters are there.
So you're talking about 100
100.
licensed sales force. You're talking about what you are
Yeah, 100 salesperson, correct? So there is a team of 100 people completely into sales, and they wanted to understand what can be the strategy to actually align all
Well,
those
there is
things.
so much of competition in the market, right?
competition among yourselves. You're talking about that 100 people, or you're talking about
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. See, first of all, a great brand sales team do internal competition. As at the end of the day, we are human beings. We do compete in the terms of to be the great performer for your team. But a great brand sales team never ever compete within the team. They work as an unit. And I'll give a small example of it. When you're talking about 100 salespeople, I'm talking about, I worked in an organization where there were 600 salespeople sitting at one location, working for brands across the global market, with having all equipments at our end, all the latest technologies, all the latest trends happening at our end. So we have divided in our teams into alpha, meta. There are a lot of teams which we divided into. So there was a time one of the team was underperforming for constantly a quarters. So when we talk about strategy, the strategy should be always not a competition with your competitor, not within your sales persons. That a strategy is always built around for a company. A strategy is always built around for a brand. So an example when I was giving you, we and another 400 sales professionals, we have completed our target. But as our this team who was focused in France and Europe market, which they were not able to pull out, we came together and we most of our directors came on for their final level of calls, setting up the calls for them, setting up going on direct face-to-face meeting with their buyers and pulling out the sales for them. And this is how a team works. So I would not agree what you said, that a sales strategy has to be implemented to outperform any of your sales colleague. Our strategies always revolve around outperforming your competitors in the market. A sales strategy always has to be implemented to outperforming your competitor brands in the market. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, so I have one final question. So suppose if an international brand is trying to enter any country, so their first point of like first first step is to set up the operation and everything. Okay, so that is done. So how do they approach the sales strategy since they are new to the market? They don't have any recognition, any uh, trust. So how do they go about sales in that matter of fact?
See, be it any brand, be it foreign brand or be it any brand, you need to first understand salespeople are not the people who builds trust with the buyers.
Hmm.
You need to first understand how great a salesperson you are. Salesperson are not the people who build trust.
Correct.
Your product builds trust. Your service builds trust. Your your product, is it benefiting them? Salespeople only position the product and services at the right time in front of the buyer.
Correct.
So you need to understand, as any brand you're talking about, any brand, be it foreign, be it Indian brand, any brand across the world, their focus should be always towards the consumer's behavior. Their always focus should be what they are expecting, what is their problem, why they are launching a product and service in the market.
Hmm.
What is the reason behind? That's where the salespeople comes in. That's where they utilize these USPs to build trust, to build rapport with the client, position the product and services at the right time. And so, as you said, it's a valid question because most of the startup entrepreneurs, most of the small business owners believes sales people are the people who's going to change the game for them.
Correct.
That's not the truth.
Correct. Yeah.
Any brand owners, any small business owners first need to understand why you have launched your business. What is the reason behind your business? What value it's going to bring in the market? What solution you are going to give to a buyer's problem? This is where a salesperson can only enact, they can enhance the revenue, they can reach out to the most buyers, they can do the branding, they can do the awareness. So the sales strategy always revolve around the the soul of the reason behind why the product and service is there in the market.
Okay. So suppose if all these things are into this place, and now the sales team just need to do that 0 to 1. So what is that 0 to 1 strategy? So how do you get that first sale for your organization?
See, when you're talking about first sale, it's always start with your market research and competitor analysis of your product. How your competitor is behaving in your market, which market that has been not tapped for your product and services. If let's assume it has your competitor has tapped the entire market, and you have started the business, and you want to venture onto the market to create your first sale, right? So this is where a great salesperson comes in, positioning your market and reaching out that product or services in front of the right buyers,
Okay.
and passing on that trust, emotions, and efficiency of that product and services. It's not about first sale. Any sale can be done. Any sale can be done. It's just you have to follow the process which I had discussed earlier.
Hmm.
For the course of the time, that start with market research, lead scoring, lead nurturing, enabling your sales team with the right techniques, right update with the latest technologies, and trying to understand your consumers position, pitching in at the right time, right place, and taking it further.
Sure. So I think no more questions. So thank you so much, Mr. Adarsh,
Thank you
for
so
this
much.
for this lovely masterclass. So that's a wrap. We give a round of applause.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay.